So thank you, Priscilla, for joining me. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited. So excited to speak to you. You are the first person that I've spoken to. Can you imagine in 8 years of having this? I
Wow.
think I think we all sort of like we're all trying to figure it out, and we just spend so much time trying to figure it out. I haven't had the chance to sort of talk to somebody about it.
Mhm.
So we're all in it silently, suffering, as we've spoken about just before.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really good. And what the main thing that I want to talk to you about is the fact that you are one of, if not the only person that I've heard so far
Mhm.
that has
Mhm.
managed to find quality of life from your
Mhm.
Graves' disease diagnosis and reversed it, which is
Mhm.
just, as I said to you, inspiring for me. And I
Thank
just
you.
want to know, let's learn from each other, let's share our stories and see where this goes, because as I said before, you don't hear of that. You don't hear of people that have reversed it or managed to um well, not cure themselves. I'm not sure if that's the word to use, cure themselves. I
Mhm.
don't just figure it out, managed it and figured it out and moving on with their lives. So I'm really excited. But first, if you want to just tell me about when it began, when you first got the diagnosis and how that was like for you, you know?
Yeah. Um, well, thank you for having me, first of all. I'm really excited to have this conversation and just share our stories. I
Yeah.
was diagnosed back in late of 2017. So I was feeling things off with my body, particularly my eyes. So I had just turned 33 years old, so I felt like I was in a place where um, I was getting older and I was already dealing with chronic pain for so many years. And I knew something was wrong, but I just didn't know what. And I think a lot of women can relate with that. Um,
Definitely.
Finally, when I had the eye issues, that's what got me in to see my doctor. And I think I was very fortunate to have a doctor who listened to my symptoms, and he ran a thyroid panel test. Um, and that's when he discovered that I had uh, hyperthyroidism. So I was just completely shocked. I've never heard of it. I didn't think my eye problem was related with the thyroid. I think I was hoping to get prescribed like a ointment, some type of drop to help with the sensitivity or the dryness. I just felt completely um what's the word? Like
Blindsided?
blindsided. Yes,
Probably.
blindsided. Yeah.
Mm.
It was I don't have a family history of thyroid issues,
Mm.
so it was just I felt very, very alone. And I know we talked about this. You kind of feel like
Mm.
you're on an island, and
Mhm.
especially when there's no one around you um, that you've seen that had thyroid issues. Or also, I think what makes you feel very lonely is that you look well. So my eye problems, like nobody can see the discomfort and pain, the chronic fatigue, the leaky gut, all those chronic pain and symptoms
Mm.
don't manifest outwardly the way that maybe we what we think is a sick person. Um,
Yeah.
so that makes it very, very hard, because when you're young, and I've had comments like this from a family member, they would be like, well, when I was your age, I would be able to do all this, this, and this,
Yeah.
and it just made me feel like
Just does not help at
it
all. Yeah.
does not help, because you're young, and
Mm.
you don't have energy, and you don't have any will, or at least for me, I didn't have any will outside of just surviving. So
Surviving the day to day, just the day.
surviving the day to day. Yeah.
That
Hmm.
is so true. And I think you just
Yeah.
pointed out something that is so critical in this autoimmune battle, is that it is an invisible illness. And
Yeah.
even when you first start feeling those symptoms, you question yourself. You just think, oh, okay, I'm tired lately. You don't attribute it to sort of one thing. You just think, okay, things, I'm not looking. I remember, for me, I remember seeing my reflection in the mirror and just going, what is happening to you?
Yeah.
You do not look well. But
Yeah.
not still not doing anything about it, just thinking, okay,
Exactly.
it's just an off day. And then,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as things get worse. But for me, luckily or unluckily, somebody had given me a walnut smoothie,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm allergic to walnuts.
Oh
And
no.
they didn't know it was an accident. It was an accident.
Yeah.
I went into anaphylactic shock, got rushed to the
Um,
hospital, and they my heart rate would not go down. My heart rate would not go down. My heart
wow.
rate would not
Yeah.
go down. They kept giving me these weird looks, and then they were like, okay, we're going to keep you here overnight. And then they kept me overnight, and they just kept looking at the screen and just looking at me and they were like, something's not right here. And then late,
Mm-hmm.
like a day later, somebody said, oh, they told me I got diagnosed with Graves' disease. So I went in with anaphylactic shock, came out with Graves' disease.
Wow, that's crazy.
It is, isn't it? But I
Yeah.
think I would not have gone to get checked. I
Mm-hmm.
think I wasn't feeling well for a while, but
Mm-hmm.
hadn't gone. And
Mm-hmm.
I was verging on thyroid storm, which is what they told me. I didn't know
Yes.
what that was.
Yeah.
So I was sort of lucky to have this walnut smoothie, but unlucky, you know, it's
Yes.
a weird one. But I know what that feels like to feel unwell. And I remember getting the eye pain as well,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but not thinking anything, just thinking, oh my,
Mm-hmm.
what is going on? And just getting on with it. So
Yeah. I
it's
think it's
yeah,
incredible that we can bear so much and that we can write off so much. I think that I wrote a lot of
yeah.
it off as aging. I just thought, oh, maybe this is because I'm getting older.
And you think
You know what I mean?
that?
I know. And
Yeah,
it's kind of sad because, like, I don't think the message of just health and being vibrant and energetic as you get older, I don't think it's something that we see in our society. And
yeah.
honestly, like the energy that I have now with a 1-year-old, even during like newborn phases, I had more energy than I did when I was ill with chronic symptom. I
Oh.
can't, that's how I know the
Mm.
level of fatigueness, of chronic fatigueness,
Yeah, yeah.
because how can I survive, you know, postpartum with a newborn, waking up every 2 hours, very little sleep, and still feel like I had energy. I still had mental clarity to attend to my newborn than I did being single, you know, with thyroid issues or undiagnosed thyroid issues, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
it's insane.
that's because of all the work you've done. And what's interesting for me is what I want to know is how did you
Mhm,
go from being diagnosed, because you
mhm.
changed it around quite quickly. I think it was
It,
like a year later you started to
it
feel better.
technically, yeah, I did the math.
Yeah,
Technically, it took me 7 months, but there are a few things that I think
yeah.
helped. First of all, I think that I caught my diagnosis of Graves. So first I was diagnosed by my doctor with hyperthyroidism. I was referred to my endocrinologist. She confirmed that it was due to Graves disease. So that's when I understood that it was an autoimmune disease.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I think that I caught Graves pretty early on. And what I discovered later on in my, while healing, was that I actually have Hashimoto's antibodies. So I can go from
Mm-hmm.
Hashimoto's to Graves, which is something that
Mm-hmm.
I think is more common, but
Yeah,
it's barely coming out because I think that a
yeah,
lot of doctors don't test for both.
yeah.
When my Graves disease was going into remission, my doctor tested my antibodies because the way that she rationalized it was, you're getting ready to go from hyper to hypo. That's what she had intellectually convinced herself. So yeah, so
You
that's
don't
why
want to
she
go
told.
there. You don't want to go to hypo.
I know, but I think she told me she
Yeah.
had never had a patient like me,
Okay.
and I think that with her experience, her intellect was telling her she most likely is going to go into being hypo instead of in a stable remission state. So she was kind of preparing me for that. And so she tested and she said, well, you do have the antibodies, you have the TPO antibodies.
Mhm.
And so to me, that made a lot more sense, because if I were to look at myself throughout the years of just the classic symptoms of a hypo patient, I relate more to being hypo. Like I was always overweight. I couldn't lose weight. I had the fatigueness, everything that's the same, but more hypo. And the only thing that was new with Graves was the eye
Yeah.
issues, the sensitivity. I did go through a thyroid storm as well, where I was like losing rapid I was losing weight very rapidly. And of course, as a girl, you know, you're just like, oh, cool. You know, maybe my workout routine is finally kicking in. And
yeah, exactly.
that was like the first sign that I kind of missed.
Because we used to see that as a good thing.
Yeah, as a girl, you're just like, that's kind of good. I'm
not even doing that much exercise and drop it off.
But then the eye symptoms came along, and that was really, really painful. It was really hard to keep my eyes open because there was so much discomfort, and they're very sensitive to the light. And so kind of forgot where I was going with this, but that's what I think helped me achieve remission within a 7-month period, is that my body was fairly new. My body was barely dealing with Graves. I think it was normally dealing with hypo.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what caused the switch that year. I don't know what made my body go from maybe Hashimoto's. And this is just my theory. I have never been diagnosed with Hashimoto's, but my theory is that I was in that phase of my life for the majority of my life, and then I switched to Graves. And Graves is just more dangerous because, like, you experience the heart palpitations, the heart racing. That's what makes Graves a little bit more well, it makes it dangerous.
It's dangerous. That's true. Yeah, with hypo and Hashimoto's, you sort of manage around that. With Graves' disease, it's good to go and get diagnosed if you feel eye problems or anything like that. That's true. Don't second guess it. Definitely to go. But it's because in the beginning, when you're diagnosed, it's so overwhelming. But at the same time, because you don't know what you're in for, it just adds to the confusion of it all, really. I don't know. But for me, I remember when the doctor told me, he said, you got this diagnosis. And I thought, okay, they're going to fix it. Because I didn't know, I was of that age in your 20s. I had relatively good health before that. And I just thought, go doctors, they fix you. And you sort of, I thought things get fixed. But I thought, why is he telling me this disease and giving me this look, this sorrowful look? He looked at me like he just felt so sorry for me, because I guess he knows what it entails having an autoimmune, and I was just at the beginning. I remember that look, and I remember thinking, okay, well, so I'm quite a positive person, and I love like figuring things out and fixing it. And I thought, I'll figure this out, I'll fix it. They'll fix it, and I'll be fine.
Exactly.
But when you get to that dark abyss where you just think, oh my gosh, what is this? And you start to almost succumb to the weight of it all. You succumb to it, and then that's when you're in it, and you just go into that despair place and everything, and then you just feel so lonely. And then it's where you just realize, oh my gosh, this is a chronic illness. That's when you understand the meaning of what this chronic illness, why have I got this at this age? And you start asking yourself maybe the wrong questions, but it's because you're coming from a sort of sad despair place. And to come out of it for you, because you came out of it, you know, I think I read in your blog that you did go through those feelings. I'd love to wait, I have to read it because I thought it was really, really powerful. Let me see if I can find it. You talk about first being if you don't mind, can I read it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, I thought it was brilliant. So you write, hello, my name is Priscilla, and I was diagnosed with Graves' disease in October 2017. Thanks to lifestyle changes, I was able to heal holistically from Graves' disease and reverse my autoimmune disease. I've been spearheading the holistic movement for healing Graves' disease naturally since 2018. I now share my story, advice and resources on how I healed. I also talk about other health related topics such as pregnancy, nutrition, low toxic living and more. Healing unapologetically is my passion project. It's my way of connecting, creating a community and sharing all my research on how I healed with simple lifestyle changes. I hope to create a space full of resources, support and encouragement for any person struggling with Graves' disease, thyroid disease, chronic pain or any autoimmune disease. I mean, honestly, to go from feeling all those going from Hashimoto's or everything that comes with, and Graves' disease, and bringing yourself up out of that and then changing it and reversing it in a short space of time is just so courageous and very inspiring.
Thank you.
And what do you think motivated you? You know, what was your motivation to? That's
I really, I feel like I have to rely on my faith for this portion of it, because me individually, like you said, you feel completely overwhelmed. You have your doctor who's telling you something you don't want to hear. You want better answers. And it was really, really hard for me to, as a Christian, to remove my thyroid, because even though I didn't know what it was, I believe that I was designed by God. You know, this is a design that we were made, and there's a reason behind my everything, every little part of my body. And I didn't want to give up my thyroid like this, because they were wanting to right away do the radioactive iodine treatment. And I just felt like it was happening too fast. So I wasn't saying no. I was just saying, I need time. I need time to understand what's happening. What does this mean? Because as a doctor, they are trained. They know, they're experts. They understand that the endocrine system. They already know it in and out. They know what Graves' disease is. They've treated many patients, but this was my first time. So I wanted to be able to be in a place where I understood all of my options. I wanted to feel like I did everything possible first before I committed to a more permanent procedure. That was just point blank. But honestly, I remember when they told me that they were going to, they recommended the radioactive iodine treatment, and they were going to destroy it. Basically, they nuke it, right? Radioactive iodine. I remember I went like this. I literally in the office just kind of like hugged my neck. And I'm someone that I've never had a broken bone. I've never had been hospitalized. So the fear of just, you know, being poked and having things removed and cut, the weight was very, very heavy. It was just as heavy. So I didn't take any of the options lightly.
It went from 0 to severe.
Yes. Yeah.
So just drastic options. No.
Drastic.
Yeah.
So I started off, which would be the in-between option, which is anti-thyroid medication. And I took methimazole, just kind of like you described. You go into the doctor and you just assume you're going to get fixed. Up to that point, I wasn't aware of alternative medicine, holistic living. I knew that there's like natural remedies, you know, but I always saw that as like, you know, a DIY face mask. You know what I mean? That's the extent of holistic. So when I went in there, I didn't have this idea of being treated naturally. So I went in, I assumed I was going to get well. I didn't like the radioactive iodine treatment and the removal yet. I wanted to try something first, and I tried the medicine, but I got really, really ill on it. I actually felt worse than I did with just regular thyroid symptoms. So that's a big, that's very, very bad. I remember it was around Thanksgiving and I isolated myself. I was in my room. I didn't want to be around people. I just felt really not myself. I couldn't function at all. Like when you can't co-live with your family, there's something wrong about the medication you're taking, you know, or the way that it's making you feel. I was feeling very dizzy at night. I was, it started off very slow, but when I got off of it, I became very, very ill. It really fractured my immune system even more. So yeah, that's when I realized the medicine is not my route. It's like, I can't. And if that was just one medicine, I didn't want to go through testing and trying other ones. And then, obviously if you do the radioactive iodine treatment or the removal, you're going to be on medicine for the rest of your life. So that kind of put in perspective, like, wow, if one medicine can have this impact on me, how can I be reassured I won't have other issues with other medicine or other thyroid medicine? I don't know. It just kind of made me really weigh out how heavy that decision would be. So
Yeah, that's amazing. So you really
yeah.
were your own health advocate from the beginning, from the get-go, and you sort of were rebelled, if that makes any sense.
Oh
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
My
It's
endocrinologist told
yeah.
me, she was like, most of my patients just come and do what they're told. She was just like, I don't know, wait, what are you doing to me? And she was just really like perplexed. So she started to
Yeah.
schedule my appointments at the very end, which I appreciate
Mm.
because she wanted to have a little more time with me, since I did have questions, since I was kind of in her sense pushing back on the
Mm.
typical the typical treatment, you know. So
Yeah. But that I
yeah.
think that's amazing for anyone listening to this who's just been diagnosed. If that I wish I was like my own health advocate from that from 8 years ago. Like I know about it now, but I
Yeah.
wasn't that before. And as we say, we put our trust in the doctors and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
We think they have our best interest at heart, and they do, but there
Yeah.
are
Yeah, they want to see you get well, you know, and
yeah.
I'm not I never want to bash
Mm,
doctors.
mm, mm, mm.
They're doing their best. They're working long hours and they're following what they know.
What
And
they
they do
know.
want exactly, and they want to see you get well, and these are the options that they can give you, and they also want to make sure that you're not going to get worse.
Yeah,
So
it's a
they
fine line
can't,
for them. Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
fine line because
yeah,
they can't make promises and guarantees, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
That's a lot of liability.
yeah.
But that's why I think that as you're being your own health advocate, you take on that
Exactly,
liability. I'm
exactly,
responsible, right? I'm
exactly.
responsible. And that's when I realized I'm responsible for my life choices. What am I doing back home? My doctor can prescribe the pill, can do the treatment, but I still have to wake up and take it. I still have to put everything into practice. You know, that doesn't guarantee anything. So what life am I living? And that's what kind of got me online searching and finding different alternative treatments.
Were you always like that? So were you always somebody who was sort of like was quite confident in yourself, really, to advocate for yourself at that age, you know? Were you always somebody who's sort of cautious and questions things and wants the best for themselves, sort of thing?
I would say I definitely am someone that's very cautious.
Mm.
And I never maybe had to deal with something to that extent in my life.
Mm.
So I did feel like my will to survive kind of kicked in for the first time. I really
Mm.
did feel like we talked earlier, my
Mm.
quality of life was at stake. And I think that triggered something new in me that I never
Mm.
knew I had. And
Mm.
it became this will to survive, this will to say, I don't want that quality of life. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to be missing Thanksgiving. I don't want to be isolated in my room, not able to coexist with family or friends, not wanting to hang out. That's miserable to me. I wanted to have the best quality of life that I can live. And I knew that there was a lot of things that I can do that were not like medically dangerous. You know, you were talking about lifestyle, we're talking about exercise, we're talking about what food am I eating, the toxins that I'm around, just basic things that I had to start looking my environment. And I literally said, what is making me sick? And I think a lot of times we do know. I feel like, you know, if you look at your New Year's resolution, I feel like that's a good start to where you think you should be changing, you know? And I
Yeah.
would always have like, I need to lose weight. I need to eat better. You know, I need to stop
Mm.
drinking Diet Coke. You know,
Mhm.
there's all these little things that I knew I should be doing. Oh, I need to be exercising more. And I literally started there. I actually
Mhm.
applied it, you know,
Mhm.
and then of course I was also looking online, looking for information. And I found, I always share Dr. John Bergman's information because he
Mm.
literally transformed the way that I look at health. And it made so much sense because I see him kind of like a teacher. He
Mm.
really explains in depth, and maybe to some it can be too much information, but it was exactly what I needed because he believes in treating the whole body, right? And a lot of times when you go to conventional medicine, they isolate the body part.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
and that was something for me, going down learning about functional medicine as well, just felt right for me. It just felt
Yeah.
right. I'm all about seeing everything, the whole thing, and finding the root cause. I'm always about finding the root cause of things.
Yes.
Just and believing that, okay, this illness came. This is just my belief. This illness came for, like, there was a reason. Something I did triggered it. It didn't just happen to me. That's not how I viewed it. So I was looking back at habits and things that I did in the past that might have contributed to this. And now at this point, everything I've learned in the last 8 years, when I look back and I just think, oh my gosh, I never looked after myself. I never did any self-care whatsoever. I never spoke up for myself. I never was an advocate for myself at all. There was zero nourishment or care for me. So where did I expect my health to go, you know, if I wasn't looking after it and nourishing it, you know, sense. And now that's my priority, is myself. And that might sound selfish or something to other people, but you need that. It needs to be, you cannot give from an empty cup. You need to fill your cup first. And before, I used to give and give and give off an empty cup, and be and sort of not realize like how detrimental that was, because I was used to not looking after myself, so I didn't think that there was anything wrong with that. But now I need to do my morning routine. I need to give to myself first. I need to do my meditations, and then and face society. So it's changed. Don't you think that it has changed you from where you were before the illness to now after the illness?
It's really hard. Like I feel like it's really hard to go back before my illness, because I really do feel like a lot of me was naturally suppressed because of the chronic pain. I just got lost in it. And I feel like for years I was lost in my chronic pain. And I think that a lot of people maybe connect with their chronic pain and they almost like take that identity. But the truth is you're not. You're just kind of, you're buried under there. And I think I learned, like I was saying, I don't know if this was on our Insta chat, but you kind of learn just to survive day by day. And that's according to your chronic symptoms, what's going to be more inflamed, what's going to be causing you more issues that day, how do you need to tweak it to work around it. I still had to work, I deal with people. So it became, I feel like my identity just got lost in it, in my chronic pain.
Oh gosh, and
whereas now, I
found it again. You found a new version of yourself, because for me it's like a newer version, newer, better, more improved.
There's a lot of things that I see myself doing that I used to do when I was a little kid. Like everybody would say that was me when I was little. I would always be out. I would always be up in the morning early. I would always be just this energy, this ball of energy. And I feel like that's what I got.
And this is why I need to talk to you. And this is why we all need to hear about it, because to get that energy back, I've done a lot. I've improved a lot, but oh my gosh, if I could just get that energy back. And how, because you just wave goodbye to it. You just say goodbye. Like, it's just never going to happen. I just can't see myself. And one of the things that inspired me so much about your story was that I was thinking, okay, if I'm this fatigued all the time, and I see my friends having babies, and I just think, how on earth am I going to manage that? How on earth, because it takes so much energy when you have a child, and you're deprived, and you're all of these things. If I'm already feeling this way now, how on earth am I going to be able to have a baby and manage that? And it scared me. Then I saw your story and I thought, oh, there's hope. It can happen. There's a way.
I mean, I was 36 when I got pregnant. I was 37 when I had my baby. So I was in my late 30s, and that was my first pregnancy. And there's definitely a lot of hope. And you can do a lot to reverse that energy. And I feel like there's certain things you have to do to kind of hack it. Like for me, before I felt like I had the energy to do things, I knew that if I worked out, I always felt better at the end of that workout. I did have energy at the end of that workout. I felt like I can get through the day. So exercise became like medicine to me, because it helped me give me the energy that I needed so that I can do the other changes, even though it was hard to initially get up, get dressed, drive down, you know, that was the biggest challenge I had to overcome. And then once I was there, I did my workout. Yeah. And a lot of people say that they always feel better after they work out.
That's so true. That's so true. That was one of the things that helped me, going to the gym and just doing low impact exercise. And
that low impact, especially I do want to mention that if you have a thyroid storm, you definitely do not want to be doing anything that is going to be elevating your heart rate, because your heart rate's already running a marathon. And in fact, you maybe shouldn't do anything. So it's really tricky. That's why I think that when I'm online, I'm always very mindful of who's hearing my story, because if I tell someone that exercise and iodine supplements helped me, those two can contradict what you should do when you have Graves' disease. You know what I mean? So it's like this.
It's right. So hard. It's so true. That's why you have to be your own health advocate and just research what's right for you.
Yeah, always.
Be on your own journey and figure it out. Figure out what's working for you. I'm still tweaking. I'm still figuring it out. Then I realized I've done things where I made myself worse, and I thought, oh my God, I thought that was healthy. Oh, I must have done that. And I'm like, okay, so you got to be careful. Even though something's healing, doesn't mean you overdo it. You know?
Yes.
Learning, tweaking. Exercise, keeping it low impact, yoga, tai chi, swimming, and keeping it there. And starting small. So for anybody who is starting out on this journey of autoimmune, what advice would you give them that would help them sort of, the advice probably that you wanted to hear, or I wanted to hear when I was starting out? What do you think could help them?
I definitely feel like do everything within your power to understand all your options. You have to, informed consent is the number one thing that I advocate for, because I feel like when you make decisions where you feel informed, you're going to have less regret. You're going to have more peace. And for some people, that might mean taking medication, doing the radioactive iodine. But when you 100% know that you researched and understood everything, you're not going to have doubts moving forward. And also don't discount lifestyle. Even if you want to do integrative medicine, which is a little bit of holistic, a little bit of conventional, just focus on lifestyle. Always focus on improving your life, improving the habits that you're doing. Try to eliminate the bad ones that you shouldn't be, and don't feel overwhelmed like it's all or nothing, because I feel like a lot of women feel like if I'm going to do holistic, it has to be an all or nothing approach. And if one day they jump off the wagon, they just feel like so overwhelmed by it, or they think that it's going to be a quick fix, and it's not. Holistic is always going to take much longer. So it's I hope that makes sense.
That's true. No, absolutely right. Informed consent and sort of lifestyle changes is key. That's an advice I would give somebody starting out. See it.
Don't look at your doctor like he is the only resource. There's a lot that you can do along with it, so you do your part, and your doctor can do their part, and you guys
do the reading. I've got so many books, and eliminate the triggers, lessen the toxic burden. That's huge. That really helped.
That was
recently. Recently, I just went on a celery. I just started having celery juice every day. And that detoxes your system. But I just did it because I was trying to be healthy, and I read a book about it. But I didn't realize I was going to go through these detox symptoms, which were awful. But
I know
how much toxic burden was inside me, and I feel so much better afterwards. And that's where I've got like a bit more energy. So I'm focusing, as we both are, on the liver and just trying to learn about that. But again, it's for anybody watching. It's about figuring out your journey with your own health, what works for you, and focusing on the things that that you have control over, your lifestyle changes.
Don't discount what you do have control over, even if it seems very mundane, even if it seems too simple. It's a control, and it's something that you can manage. So Yeah.
Making that a habit. Yeah, it's about
Yes.
daily habits that over time will benefit you, and you will feel better. But there is no quick fixes, because I was looking for quick fixes when I began.
Yeah. I
I
mean, I
was
think
looking for how to heal.
that's the miracle bottle. You know, everybody wants
Yeah,
the quick fix. You know, I can't blame anybody when you're feeling so sick. You do want the quickest recovery. So, but I think as far as long term, yeah, holistic is definitely going to get you there. More sustainable health.
For me too, that really helped me as well. So honestly, I can ask you so many more questions, but maybe we do another one and more.
Yeah.
Something else. It's been amazing just to know that there is hope out there, and that you've been your own health advocate and you figured it out for yourself how to reverse this and now lead a better quality of life. And for anybody watching, for them to see there is hope. And for me as well, it's been incredible. Really, it has helped me to see light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's what we all need, that motivation and inspiration to just keep going and keep believing in yourself, and know that this is happening for a reason. But that's me. That's how I look at things. And because I'm much better, how I look after myself now is so much better than how I used to look after myself before. I'm a completely different person now. So
yeah. I agree. I think it also helped me know what was causing all my ailments instead of not knowing.
Exactly.
So
it's
like it's a double-edged sword, but
yeah, that's so true. It's just about looking after yourself, being kind to yourself, prioritizing yourself. Use this time to just heal from the inside out.
Yeah. And that's one thing I want to mention with my blog real quick, is that the information is there for you to pick and choose what can serve you. And it's not so much just everything. And that's why I always also advocate for people to do their own research, because some information may resonate differently with you than it can with me. And you need to listen to that. So just pick and choose what works for you. And that's going to help you become your own wellness advocate.
Absolutely. Yeah. So where can people find you and learn more about your journey? And
I'm on Instagram. It's healing unapologetically _unapologetically, and I have my link to my blog on there as well, but I mainly just post on Instagram.
I think it's wonderful, and I think the title unapologetically is amazing. This is it. I think for women, we need to live unapologetically as well as heal unapologetically.
Exactly. Especially if you're feeling good and you're doing better. You don't need to apologize for that.
Exactly. So I think it's incredible. Thank you so much, Priscilla. Please everybody follow, and your journey has been it's just been an honor to look at and watch.
Thank you.
I wish all the best, honestly, and
likewise. And I know we'll keep in touch, and
we definitely will.
Yes, I want to hear more of your journey.
Honestly, it's been brilliant. Oh well, yeah. So there might be more from us. We'll see. There's so much to talk about, really, isn't it? All right.
There is. There really is.
Okay.
All right.
Hello everyone, it's Meron here from Loving Me Kindly. Thank you so much for watching that. If you enjoyed it, then please hit the subscribe button so that you can get more inspiring videos to help you on your wellness journey.